I love this country. I love the United States of America. I love my state of New York, the great Excelsior state. And I so love my Chrissy. See me, Reina. Ladies and gentlemen, buenas tardes. Welcome back to the Next Step Show aquí con tu conservative New Yorican in the WYSL studios. See, if you're catching us on social media, again, I'm still working on the little details to try to get the audio from the commercials so you could hear all that in colors. But hey, you know what? Comment and you could always go to the website, right? What is it? 1040wysl.com. See, check us out there, stream us live so you could hear everything. But we'll get this resolved, I promise. Man, I'll tell you today. What a beautiful day. I'll tell you, I love the cool weather. I don't like it too hot and I surely don't like it too cold. So this kind of cool 60s, 70s, 75, I can deal with that. So listen, get out there, enjoy the sun because ya mismo, man, you're gonna have snow all around you. And I hey, it's Señor Salvaje. I could hear you. Oh, what did I say? Oh man, I'm sorry. See? Say it one more time to make sure it's correct. WYSL1040.com, ladies and gentlemen. See, it's Senor Sabaje. Bob, I'm glad you chimed in. It means you may be able to kind of share some comments. And I didn't realize you were that kind of boss to let your employees take vacation. What's up with that? I thought you were old school, conservative. Mira, vente a trabajar. Hey, you know what? You should have him vetted to make sure that he's not working for the Chinese there. No, 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 not Watkins Glen. I'm actually a little closer than that, but somewhat similar area. Uh, well, well, I apologize for the noisy. I did my best to keep things as quiet as possible. So, well, these construction guys, they decide that they want to go work on things like in the middle of the day when everybody else is working. Yeah, it is. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging with us again. Hey, did you know that today is National Lazy Moms Day? And listen, this isn't calling moms lazy, guys. This is saying that this is the day to acknowledge the hard work of moms everywhere by encouraging them to take a well-deserved break and enjoy some relaxation. Man, apparently I've got noise and I can't speak English. Hey, just a reminder, Murder Mystery Dinner, right, to Wake the Dead on September 27th at 6 p.m. over at Jack's Place in Chalai Country Club. If you want tickets, 585-314-1769. Listen, the cast are all your Republican candidates, and listen, just come because I attend the rehearsals and I can tell you that it's definitely something you don't want to miss and you got to check it out, right? You definitely got to check it out. Hola, Senor Frank or Fred Salbar for hanging with us today. I'm glad you're tuning in and the tune in. What is that? The My Tuna Radio app. Hey, there you go. Another way to listen to the WYSL. We're all over the place. See, the Next Step Show comes to you from all over the place to all over the world. See, but listen, let's talk about some crazy stuff going on today, right? I think, Bob, you told me one time, Peter, this is a news commentary show. So how about we comment on on some news, Bob? 346-3000, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get these calls rolling, right? Because you know there's just things that come out of the state house that I'm like, really, that doesn't always make sense to me. And listen, I said a million times, I consider myself to be pretty darn smart, but boy, I'll tell you, the trickery coming out of the state house can be a bit confusing. So I want your opinion, right? Because recently, Governor Hocus Pocus here, I'll be kind, okay? Let's be kind. La Senora Governor Hocus. Bob, I'm trying. The governor, hocus pocus. That's it. I can't really say anything else as it pertains to her. But she signs into legislation a bill that's Senate Bill 728B and the Assembly Bills 6067C as in Charlie, right? Sponsored by State Senator James Skoufis, Skoufis. I'll leave that there. And Assembly Member Fred Thiele. Now, these are both Democrats, pretty progressive, right? I believe they're from the downstate area. But you see, this particular bill here, it's supposed to mandate that public employees be informed when their disciplinary when their disciplinary records are requested via FOIA. And I just chuckle because if you remember, I think it was 2020 or that time frame, 2020, 2022, somewhere around there. After George Floyd, there was that big push to get rid of what was it, 50A. That basically prevented people from getting records from police officers. This big uproar, and she was behind that, or the governor Cuomo actually was behind that. And then Fred, you're right, Governor Joko works too, right? But hocus pocus though, because the trickery, Fred, it's just astronomical, right? So again, back then they pushed this, and remember she was the lieutenant governor back then, and she pushes this 50A, let's get rid of it, right? Everybody should know how bad cops are, right? Because remember, everybody, including the local county clerk and the local executive who I heard yesterday at the concert, give thanks to our police officers just a few years later after he's got his feet crossed with his buddy, Senor Morelli there, in downtown amongst those that were calling to defund the police. But hey, that's not today's show, right? That we'll leave that for another day, right? But again, trickery. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. So this particular bill says that now the law mandates that public employees are to be informed when their disciplinary records are requested. Now, see, this is where I get a little confused because I'm like, well, wait a minute. Not only is the FOIA process already inadequate, right? If it even gets responded to, and if you've ever used the FOIA process, you see what I'm talking about. And boy, I'll tell you, if you FOIA something, you better make sure you are specific, because if they give you something, they'll give you exactly what you ask for, right? But you see, the thing is, though, this kind of circumvents for those people that supported the removal of Section 50A, or the repeal, I guess, of Section 50A, which I believe was around since the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And I'd love your thoughts. Should that been repealed or not, right? But this now requires public employees to be informed of this, right? So I like it, which I'm a little like, holy cow, I can't believe I like something like this, because at least it does provide the opportunity for someone to say, hold on, wait a second, why are you asking for this, or know ahead of time if they've got notify law enforcement. I kind of like that, right? 346-3000. Tell me what you think. However, for those, again, like Kathy Hochul, who signed this bill, but also participated in the repeal of Section 50A, how is this faring for you, right? Because right now, the burden, right, that's placed. We'll get back to that after this break, because you know what? I need you to understand how crazy this is. We'll be right back right here in the Next Step Show. Yep, on the WYSL stations. So no te vayas. I wanna say a big thank you very Hola, señor. Muchas gracias, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Sí, soy yo, the conservative Neo Rican. So listen, as I was saying before a break, the FOIL process. Why am I discussing this? Well, because it's this kind of trickery things that they do, especially during election cycles. Yesterday at the beginning of the show, I said, boy, you got to love election cycles because you see how money is just being thrown all over the place. And as a nonprofit leader, I'd say, hey, thank you very much, elected people for throwing this money. But can't this be kind of like consistent instead of just during election cycles? Can't we have consistency in the work that we do just all the time, right? And if you're newly elected, you pick up where you need to pick up and you implement the changes you're going to implement, and we get things done. But instead, what we have is Governor Joko, as Fred calls her, or Hocus Pocus, right? That's doing things like signing things into legislation, like this new mandate to a system that's already on system overload, if they even do respond. So now a FOIL system that's already underfunded and struggles significantly with efficiency and adherence to the law, right? Most of the time, I would say. Now we got to add this cost to it. See, it kind of seems to me that the trickery part, right? Let me explain what I mean by trickery. It seems to me that the trickery part of that is where she's trying to say, okay, yeah, we stood against cops, so we're going to add this little verbiage in here, this mandate, right, on municipalities that are already over mandated, just so that those that are impacted by the repeal of 50A are now all of a sudden feeling better, and she may get an endorsement. Or some of the Democrats, may feel that they're not upsetting. I mean, just this is trickery, right? 346-3000. Tell me what you think. If you know about this law, or if you've heard of it, or you're like, what the heck? I want to know, right? Because again, I like it, but the fact that it's done by two very progressive senator and assembly member, and the fact that the governor signed it, there's got to be more to it. Because again, listen, those opposed it. Look at this. Um, Opposition to it comes from Reinvent Albany, Common Cause New York, League of Women Voters, New York Civil Liberties Union. They all oppose those, amongst others. And listen, when your own people like that, and I've learned in politics this, and it doesn't matter what party you're with. I've learned this in politics, right? There are politicians, when they know, right, that they have to somehow make an adjustment in the perception of their voting records. They'll do things like go ahead and vote conservative. And no, I don't mean conservative party or Republican party. I mean conservative, because that whole bill that the governor signed, that's kind of on the conservative side of things, right? Even though it's going to cost municipalities money, right? But it sounds like she really does care about public employees. Now, anyways, listen, on September 4th, there was a very sad day in Georgia. And I want to make sure that we acknowledge that. And there's a couple things, statements that were made throughout this so far. And I don't want to get too deep into it, although 346-3000, I'd love your opinions on this as well. And absolutely, our hearts, our prayers go out to the families of those that were impacted, the entire state, the entire country. Dan, thank you for calling the Next Step Show, sir. Doing all right, brother. Now, are you not, sir? So help me understand something, Dan. Dan, and I apologize. I know I'm interrupting you, but there isn't a lot of time, and I know you like to talk as much as I do, but all right. So let me ask you. Hey, listen, Dan. That's a valid observation that we definitely should address. So let me address that here real quick, if I may. See, this is the thing. Um, the separation in ideologies, both in. Can you hear me? All right. Yeah, no, that works for me. That's fine. And I'll go ahead and address it if he's, continues to listen. So thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for putting it the way it should be put. But the thing that he's forgetting is that who you associate with really does, and your beliefs, right? Really does kind of. He can say he's not rubbing shoulders with Holko and Kamala, who he claims are horrible people. I believe he said that, right, Bob? Uh, 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 well, the thing is, he believes in an ideology that's being pushed by the governor, and then now he's claiming that he's not aligned with her. But listen, again, Dan, you're always welcome to call. Ladies and gentlemen, state your point. It's definitely Bob Savage, right? He makes it. Listen, dialogue, accusation, getting upset, that's not dialogue. But so before this caller, and ladies and gentlemen, 346-3000. As I was saying, on September 4th, our hearts and prayers go out to the families, those impacted nationwide, because this impacts all of us, right? Um, but I do want to address a couple of things that have been discussed in regards to this that have come out as some of the in some of the news stuff. For example, that was who was it? The Broward County Sheriff described the incident as evil, which it is absolutely evil, and he expressed a comment, right? Ensuring that hate will not prevail in the community. So I haven't really seen anything more coming out in regards to this being a hate crime or a crime in regards to skin color or whatever the case may be in that. However, this individual, this 14 years old, was interviewed, I believe, by the authorities and the FBI back in March of 2023 after being accused of making online threats, right? As I understand it from my research, it shows that no further action was taken at the time due to the lack of evidence and probable cause. But see, this is the part that I want to talk about. Some of these articles and some of the stuff that's coming out now are saying that like this particular case is raising concerns about the limitation, listen to this word, the limitation of preemptive interventions, right? The challenges in preventing such attacks. And see, the thing is this. I don't 100% disagree with that statement, because if someone is making threats against anyone, whether it's a school or business, an individual, that individual needs to be, um, uh, well, he needs to be taken into custody and at the very least figured out what the heck is going on and why they're making those threats, and maybe even referred to someone, in the mental health field, right? But when you look at preemptive interventions and then you look at things in law enforcement that talks about, this also raises concerns or critical questions about the effectiveness of the current system for monitoring and preventing potential threats. Again, where do we balance the Second Amendment or an individual right to own a gun legally with kids in the home. Because remember, one of the things that my opponent, the current clerk, says is that her whole big thing is sending information to legal gun owners about safe, keeping their guns safe, and whatever, all the different mandates the state has for keeping a gun in your home, right? That's what she's on board with. But this child back in March of 2023, right? His threats were online. So my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, 346-3000, is where do we find this balance between ensuring that people that have malice intent, um, and those that don't, right? Where's that balance between the privacy issue, the privacy, right? What kind of privacy are we really entitled to? And is it justified by some of these things? And now I know you've got an opinion. 346-3000. So what else happened on this? He surrendered to the police enforcers. Now listen, I don't study criminology or anything like that, but it does seem that many that have committed this kind of crime have committed suicide themselves, indicating a mental health issue. I, I wonder, right? What was the point? And I'm sure this will all figure out as we'll go. He's being charged as an adult, as it should be. Um, but still, though, the ability to take preemptive measures in a case like this, what does that mean when the government says those kind of things? Um, but hey, I want your opinion, right? Gary, if you're out there, anyone from Scope, anyone from GOA, let me know what your thoughts are on that, because this is going to impact that movement significantly, right? There are already people lining up to say things like, well, this is why everybody should not have a gun in the home. That's the whole movement of that moms against guns or whatever stuff that my opponent got endorsed by. Right? That's they do it under the concept of trickery, saying, oh no, it's for your best interest. Recently, Hocus Pocus in New York State at the Democratic National Convention made a statement, basically giving a lot of praise to the buffoon in the White House, and now the buffoon in the oven, right? The one that may win the presidential election, which we hope not, right? But she praises them for the United States having a strong economy. Let's talk about that when we get back right here on the Next Step Show. See you on the WYSL Studios, 346-3000. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. See if you're catching us on social media. Thank you for joining us, Fred Selbar. You're right. Keeping your guns in a safe spot but accessible is a tough balance, right? Gary, thank you for calling the Next Step Show. Gary? So, just, oh, there you go. Hmm. Let me ask you, though. Yeah. Yeah, I've been to gun shows. Yes. Why isn't Monroe County going to be there? Was Monroe County invited? Gotcha. When's the next gun show in Monroe County? Uh, mhm, mhm. Yep. Or you it's that's the trickery. Let me get your opinion, Gary, real quick, because there's the other side to this, which is the law enforcement side, and we all stand with our law enforcement. But instead of all elected officials, including law enforcement, kind of focus on shifting culture back to kind of one of love and respect, I guess, and integrity. It's more surveillance. It's more monitoring. What's your opinion on that? That one simple rule. Yeah. So let me ask you one more question real quick, Gary. The you end up being my guest for a while. See, ladies and gentlemen, 346-3000. Fred Selbar on Facebook said it's a mental health issue, nothing more. What would your opinion be on that? Yep, a- absolutely. Gary, don't hang up. Hang on for a second so we can finish up that thought, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, 92.1 FM, 95.5 FM, 1040 AM. See the WYSL stations, the Next Step Show with the conservative New York, and I'll be right back. The city I live in, the city of angels, together we cry. If you didn't hear me before, ladies and gentlemen, hear me now. See, I love this country. I love the United States of America. I love New York. And I love my Chrissy, mi reina. Yep, just in case you missed it. Welcome back to the Next Step Show, Seeking to Conservative New Yorican. Gary, thank you for staying with us there for those few minutes. Hey, one more quick question, if I may. I love talking to you, Gary, because I think you are able to put things in a perspective that all of us can truly understand. Because this issue against weapons, guns, it just seems like an attack not just on the Constitution, but on a way of life that are supposed to keep us in a way that's safe, not just from criminals but also from the United States government. Any thoughts you want to end on with that? Yeah, yeah, they are. Carrie, I absolutely not, Gary. I appreciate your call, sir. I really do. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm curious. Do you know 346 3000? Do you think that Letitia James is going after Donald Trump? I'm just wondering. Do you think there's an agenda there? John, thank you for calling the Next Step Show. I think that they should absolutely do that. And the thing is, it's not even just the movies, it's cartoons, it's the TV shows on Netflix. Yeah, I do like Sopranos. Although you got to admit that in The Sopranos, or at least that era of crime, there was still a decorum, right? You didn't just go shoot up people in a public park just because. As a matter of fact, in the storyline of The Sopranos, someone that would do that would be dealt with by their group. Anyways, yeah, no, no, not at all. Hey, John, could I get your opinion on something else on another topic? So would you agree that the Attorney General Letitia James, right, this whole thing against Trump, right? Yeah, I mean, it's almost targeted. Would you agree with that? Eh, do you know that she just made a public endorsement of Kamala Harris, rating her as the better option? Oh, very much so. But the thing is, we talk about why is it that so many people have lost trust in our systems, and we talk about this trickery, but we've also talked, and I know John, you I think talked about this, where this administration from the White House all the way on down to many of the state offices are using government branches to go after political foes. I mean, a Gallup poll in 22 showed that trust in the judicial system, John, was only 47%, with significant decline from previous decades. Thank you. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. John, I'm going to give you a call. We're going to have you in studio again. It's been too long that I've had you on to talk about some of this stuff. Actually, I got a question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you mind? Would you mind being a guest host for me, filling in for me one day? Ladies, absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, John the Optimist hosting the Next Step Show, coming to you in the very near future. John, I really appreciate the call, sir. All day, every day. All day, every day. So, I mentioned that Letitia James, the Attorney General for New York, had given an endorsement of Kamala Harris. Do we not see the ethical issues with that? Really, the trickery behind that kind of stuff, right? I mean, I just said 47% of people in the United States don't trust the judicial system. I mean, not that long ago, right? Because let's remember, previous decades, trust was at about 80%. Ladies and gentlemen, that is because we've got leaders that don't know how to lead. Why? Because it's all about them. Mira, 92.1 FM, 95.5 FM, 10:40 a.m. every day noon. I hope to see you tomorrow. Y nunca te olvides, be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. And hey, don't forget, Bob D'Angelo, Bob Savage, Peter Vasquez, your conservative New Yorker, siempre, siempre Te amamos. Thank you very much. Thank you. Talk to you soon.